Alright, this is a viewer mail episode, but I just want to tease that at the end of the video, there's a preview for the back half of the season. You could do two things. You could watch me answer some questions from the street foodies, or you could just scroll right on over to the end and catch that preview, y'all.
Street food.
What's up, street foodies? It's time for viewer mail. This is not going to be a heavily produced episode, right? This is the midpoint of the season where I answer fan questions. We got a lot of questions about Japan, some questions in general. Thanks for asking questions, y'all. Otherwise, there would be no episode. First question comes from the Nerd to God cast. What up, Nog Squad? Viewer mail question. What is a food you've encountered on your quests that you love, but that is really rare or hard to find? Great question. So I thought of two things. The first one is those curry puffs from Malaysia, okay? I have had plenty of curry puffs since my time at Penang. I have never had one as good. Those puffs, I would commit to just eat those. I would forsake all other foods for those curry puffs. You can find stuff around, you can find a samosa, whatever, but those Penang curry puffs, that dude's mom's recipe, go back, you can search the episode, I think it was season 5, man, that thing was great, and I have not had one that good since. Something that's more a part of my day-to-day is you can find a lot of good vegetable sandwiches, cai jiao mo, around the city, but there was a great one where like the bread was fresh, crispy on the outside, warm and like soft on the inside, and just like perfect amount of filling. There used to be a really good one next to my language school. The language school moved locations, and then when I went back to try to find that veggie sandwich, it's not there. Now, I get a lot of vegetable sandwiches. I eat this at least once a week. To find the perfect balance between the fillings and the bread, the freshness of the bread, all of that is harder than you would think. What happens is, because I eat this a lot, you become like a connoisseur, which is a fancy way of saying you become picky. Don't play. I settle for cai jiao mo all the time. But this one, man, yeah, the rarity factor, I think what it makes me think of is just that next level of something that makes it delicious. I don't know if that answers your question, but I enjoyed that little stroll. Shirley Chu, you asked a bunch of questions. Look, what's the worst food I've ever tried? Durian, obviously. What are some of the strangest, to me, hardest to adjust to etiquette differences between China and the US? I'm gonna tell you one that relates to food and snacking, okay? There's this idea of what's the barrier between you and something unsanitary, right? So like we would not touch something that we think is dirty, but at least where I live, the barrier is different, okay? Because your hands are gonna get dirty. So what happens is your hands are not clean. When you go to McDonald's and they give you a sandwich, they give you some gloves. Think about like a sandwich from Subway. It comes in that paper. If you see a Chinese person eating a sandwich, they're holding the wrap. They're not touching the sandwich with their hands. The hand is dirty. You know how like at least in the States, kids will put their fingers in their mouth, right? All the time. So parents they try to keep their hands clean because they know those fingers are going in their mouths. Or maybe, they're really free range and they're like, eat that bacteria, it's good for you. I don't know where you fall with, but anyway, here in China, you do not see a kid put his hands in his mouth, okay? The parents are like, nope, they'll try to help you. You have like a little Waiguoren baby. If a Chinese parent sees that baby putting his fingers in his mouth, they'll be like, oh, no, your hand's dirty. And we're like, oh, the hand's not dirty. It's just a different, and it's not that hard to adjust to, but we get a lot of looks when we eat some chicken nuggets with our fingers, or we let our kids do that. Also, I probably changed a little bit. I probably use silverware a little more than I did before, and I have been known to use that glove. More question. The Blue Stank. What up, Blue Stank? Great handle, man or woman. I heard people in Japan have big concerns about privacy being filmed. Did anyone get upset with you filming in the restaurants? You know what? Because I stuck to mostly tourist areas, I didn't get a lot of looks. I did ask a few times, especially when I was inside a restaurant. But in most cases, I was outside, and I think people were fine with it, especially where I was at, Osaka. There's so many tourists, so many people with cameras and cell phones. It's gotten a lot more normal. My experience was there wasn't a lot of trouble with that. I visited a few temples. I was much more cautious about filming people in those places, because you don't want to invade somebody's privacy. Then again, this is YouTube. What are we about if not destroying privacy? The Blue Stank also asked something about the over-sexualization of female characters that you see in anime. Was this style prevalent and in your face, or was it pretty chill and conservative? That's a hard question to answer. There's a different vibe in Japan when it comes to that modesty issue, but I didn't feel like stuff was in my face. To be fair, I didn't see a lot of anime. I saw some Some, like the really popular ones, would be signs around and whatever, but I didn't really go looking for it. The times that I did get a little bit off the beaten path, you know what, it felt like pretty much anywhere else. I feel like I've heard about that more than I observed it. The doctor's back. What up, the doctor? So the Japan videos are essentially a snack vacation. Word. Any more on the cards, or perhaps just your 3 picks of where you would go for a snack-cation? This is a great question. I've been thinking about this a lot, okay? Next season is going to be season 10. I'm thinking that's probably the season I'm going to go out on. You know, I'm going to finish strong season 10. Unless something changes. No commitments to that, but that's kind of what I was thinking. So I've been going through my mind. Vietnam is on my list for sure. Vietnam is considered by many people street food capital of the world. I would love to go do like some food tours through Vietnam. There's also, my wife told me about a global street food convention that was held in the Philippines, I believe, 2 years in a row, maybe Manila. I don't know if that's happening again in 2018. It might have already happened, but I think I would love to visit the international global street food whatever extravaganza thing. So that's number 2. A lot of the Anthony Bourdain stuff is going through my mind. He's been like to some deep parts of Mexico, Central South America, where the street food's way different than in Asian countries, and I would love to check that out too. That'd probably be my 3rd, but I would love to know what you guys think. Street foodies watching this, where should I go on my next snack-cation? And what it might be my final snack-cation, where should I go? Hit up the comments. Adam M., the Japan videos were awesome. Thank you. What are your tips for solo travel, especially to someone who has never solo traveled before? There's another question similar to this. Who is that from? Standing Cub also asked about that. Do you enjoy solo traveling or traveling with other people more? Which do you find more difficult? How much y'all want to know about my personality right now? It's way harder to travel with other people because you have to make decisions as a group, right? This whole life together. That's what it is. Then again, the experience is richer in community because now you have shared experience as opposed to solo experience. That's real. That's real talk. I've traveled with people before. I've traveled alone. It's definitely easier to travel alone for me, for someone like me, because I like just making the calls. I like just going here, there. Now, y'all know I got lost a lot. Would I get lost less in a group? Possibly. But I would also be annoyed that I have to, follow other people around. They're very different experiences, and I like them both. You have to enjoy the solitude part of it. I brought a camera, and I was like, giving you guys a window into my experience, but it was a lot of just me by myself, going places, chilling, and I like that. I also really like going with people, but I do find that more difficult. My tips for solo travel, plan ahead, obviously, as much as you can. Don't plan too much, and give yourself a break. Plan for things to take longer. Don't freak out if you get lost. I hope this came through in the video. Some of the best times on my trip was where I went kind of off plan and just allowed myself to find stuff. Now, personally, I stressed about that some, more than I should have. I would give advice to my former self if I could do a Back to the Future situation. If I had a flux capacitor, I would be like, look, take it easier, bro. If you're solo traveling, take it easy, because that there's a lot of stress involved with it. It's all on you. Anyway, those are my tips. I don't know if they're helpful. What I find that this brings out is a lot of personality stuff. So it really depends how you're wired if you're going to like going alone. All right, I got a question from Jumba Jukiba. Yo, if I pronounced that wrong, which is there's a 90% chance I did, I really hope it wasn't offensive. It's a dope handle. Are there any foods you didn't like at first but loved after trying it again or at a new place? Chinese barbecue was not my favorite at first. But as I ate it more, I started to really get a taste for it. I learned the things that I do like more than others. And hot pot. Man, hot pot is probably the quintessential Chinese community food. I've done episodes on it before. When I first went, I felt like it's so much work. You gotta cook your own food, your whole clothes, and smell like hot pot afterward. Now, I do still stress when there's a group pot. I like my private pot. Again, I'm learning all kind of things about myself right now. I like the private pot that I can control when the food's... Look, if they put the meat in the pot and it's overcooking, I'm stressed. Y'all are ruining that meat. Hot pot trials. But I do like hot pot. When I first came, I was like, whatever, y'all. Let me go to a place where they have already cooked my food. But now I really enjoy it. It's something I like doing with friends. And I like getting together, eating hot pot together. Definitely, Chinese barbecue and Chinese hot pot have definitely grown on me since I've been here. Good question. Juanis, how do you feel when you walk into one of those small places and everyone turns and looks at you like you just ripped a massive fart? I'm not sure that happens to me as often as it happens to you, friend. How about when you actually do rip a massive fart in one of those quiet places? That's what I want to talk about. Because look, I'm a teacher. You know, you're standing up at that board, everybody's quiet, and you're like, do I risk it? I've gotten really used to it. I've gotten really used to being, having a lot of people turn and look at me, and it's not a big deal to me. I have friends who really don't like it. They really would prefer to stay out of the spotlight. Most of them don't have YouTube channels. Speaking of YouTube, Wes Bailey, how did you start your YouTube journey? And why do you feel the algorithm gods don't favor your videos? Well, I don't sacrifice to the algorithm gods. Real talk, I haven't even tried to understand the algorithms. I know I'm supposed to make videos longer than 10 minutes. This one might be that long because I'm answering questions, but my content generally works in small pieces. You know, I'm not trying to lengthen that. I feel like fans of the show would be bummed out if I just stretched out all the episodes to try to make some ad money or get brought up in the feed more often. Like, my show is a snack show. It should be short. If I'm getting bored watching it, I don't understand how anyone could enjoy watching it longer. Much respect to those videos who are 10 minutes or longer. I definitely get sucked in and enjoy them. I just feel like for my content and what I do, I like to keep it quick and sharp as possible. It's not always on that edge, but that's what I try to do. I did recently get cut out of ads with the YouTube changes. I don't have the watch time. If I made my videos twice as long, would I have it? Maybe. You know, at the end of the day, I just try to make content that I am proud of and that I like. And, you know, I get 400 to 500 people watching every week, people who really like it. And you guys are my street foodies, and I'm making these for you. If you keep watching, I'm going to keep making them. To be real, I wasn't making that much off of ads anyway. I don't know if y'all know how this works, but you got to get a lot more views than I did to really make any kind of money through the ads. You know, this might be a good time to talk about Patreon. There's people who like invest in the show, you know, and every week they're watching, they're like, look, I'm helping make this. They're literally patrons of this show. I make videos specifically for them. I give them early access to content. I ask them about like, what should I do with the channel, you know? So it does feel way more collaborative, and I like it a lot. And it helps me make a little bit off the show. It helps me afford things like better equipment and going on trips. Shout out patrons. You guys are awesome. If you're not a patron and you want to start supporting the show, you could just chuck in $1 an episode. That'll be like $20 a year because I make about 20 episodes in a year. You can also keep watching for free. I support some people on Patreon, people that I want to feel extra connected to. If y'all want that extra connection, it's available to you. How did I start my YouTube journey? I'm going to put a clip of the first video I put up on YouTube. My friend is a drummer, and so I made a video of my friend's kid playing it, and I got like 4,000 views of that junk. I don't know what people want to see on YouTube. I really just made it for my friend, and I put it on YouTube, and a bunch of people liked it. JT on the drum. Shout out JT. That kid's grown now, practically. I am getting old. Lord Judgment 1818, my man. I don't know who you are, but I'm glad we're boys, all right? My favorite dish in Japan, gotta be them noodles. Gotta be that ramen. That ramen was so next level. Maybe the udon. Kitsune udon. It's a tie between kitsune udon and that legit pork bone ramen that I had. The udon felt a little more special because I had to work real hard for it. Look, street foodies, I answered your questions. You learned some things. I learned some things about myself. That's what this is about. This is a journey that we're on together. You want to celebrate that journey with a t-shirt? You can find the link in the description below. T-shirts are at TeePublic. I'm going to take a few weeks off of regular episodes. Although patrons of the show, there'll still be 2 episodes a month for you guys that you can access through the Patreon feed. But for everybody else, I got a lot of little short snack clips, some product reviews, just like things that I couldn't build a whole episode around, but that I thought, you know, I'll just put on the channel. So every Friday, I'm going to keep posting some much shorter videos, but we got a whole back half of the season coming. Would you like a preview of that? So many snacks, so much family love. It's a journey, friends. Savor it. Look, until I see you again, eat it on the street. Watch out for the parasites.
Street food.